The rich killer. So apparently this person got rich after committing a murder. Well, let's check it out. Let's see what it's about.
So this guy, he's about to become a multi-millionaire. And he's gonna screw it all up.
Hey, how you guys doing today? Welcome to Ajax Production. I'm your host, Senor Ajax, and we are back with another amazing episode. On this episode of Ajax Reacts, we're going to be reacting to an amazing video. I'll share with you when I share the screen. But before, I'm bringing back something I used to do back in the day. Right? When I used to eat and react, right? So today we're gonna be eating one of my mother's favorite delicacy, which is pounded yam and egusi. If you're Nigerian, please put a shout out in the comments. If you're not, welcome to my culture. This is something that you definitely have to try at one time in your life. It is very delicious. It is very delicious. And I'm gonna show you guys real quick before we start the show. So this is how it looks. Okay. Beautiful. It's a little dry because I've overcooked it, but that's what we're eating today while we're munching. I have a fork to eat it with. I'm supposed to use my hand, but like I said, it's kind of dry, so we're just gonna do what we gotta do. You know what I mean? So right now, we're gonna be sharing this screen to something we call the rich killer. So apparently this person got rich after committing a murder. Well, let's check it out. Let's see what it's about.
Guy, he's about to become a multi-millionaire. And he's gonna screw. So this guy, he's about to become a multi-millionaire. And he's gonna screw it all up. So his name is Sharn. And Sharn is 16, living in Philadelphia, and his whole life is about to change. Because one
Damn, the man is young. I thought that was an older person. He's a very young person. Let's find out what happened.
morning in 1990, a local businessman is leaving a bank, and he just withdrew $25,000 in cash. And so he gets in his car and he starts to leave, and suddenly, kaboom! A car full of goons crashes into him, and one of the goons gets out and he points a pew-pew right at him, and blam! He shoots him in the chest. And then they grab all his money and they speed away. Meanwhile, Shorn is apparently at this youth center on the other side of town. And he's there, he's filling out some paperwork. Now, for some reason that we still don't understand, someone tells the police that it was Shorn who did this robbery outside the bank, even though he was supposedly at the youth center the whole time. And so, bam, police go and they arrest him. Here's his mugshot.
Wait, how did they? If he was at the youth center, then how did they know it was him? If he was documented to being at the youth center, I don't know. It's kind of confusing though. But let's keep watching.
Mugshot. And suddenly, poor 16-year-old Sharn is looking at life in prison. And he's terrified. I mean, because who wouldn't be? And so his lawyer starts looking for some evidence that helps prove his innocence.
Okay. So all this happened while he was 16. I mean, of course, now he's an older person. And apparently, I guess he got some money. But let's keep watching.
And he comes across a form from the youth center that Sharn signed the morning of the murder. I guess he had to sign some forms while he was there, and the forms were time-stamped. Not only that, but Shorn has witnesses. His mother and sister were at the youth center that day, and they saw him sign those papers. And so anyway, several years go by, and it's now 1994. And Shorn is 20 at this point, and he goes to trial. And this trial, it doesn't go well for him. For some reason, his mother and sister are never called to testify. And so, boom, he's sentenced to life in prison at only 20 years old. And so Shorn is devastated. I mean, what's he gonna do now? His entire life is over. He can't spend the rest of his days locked up in a cell, and he'll do whatever it takes to get his life back. And so what's he gonna do now? Well, he starts writing letters to anyone who will listen to him, anyone who could possibly help him. And he keeps writing letter after letter after letter. And 17 years go by. And it's now 2011. And at some point, he writes a letter to the Pennsylvania Innocence Project, which is like an advocacy group that helps people out who have been wrongly convicted. And so they start looking into his case, and they see things like the time-stamped form he filled out at the youth center proving he wasn't at the crime scene. And they see that his mother and sister weren't called to testify at the trial. And so they start fighting hard for Shorn, making his story go public. And in their investigation, they discover a bunch of things, like back at Shorn's trial, evidence pointing to other suspects, evidence that had been suppressed. And so, taking all this information, they help Shorn with pro bono legal services, and they file an appeal to overturn his conviction. And surprisingly, one day, kaboom!
So you're trying to say the government was being lazy. They didn't want to do their job, and they found an easy victim to accuse of the crime. That's crazy work, man. But it could be like that, you know what I mean? But that's why you gotta have good alibi of knowing where you are when you are, you know what I mean? So that you can have somebody that could, vouch for you if something like this does happen. It's very unfortunate though.
An appeals court overturns his conviction and his sentence is vacated. And so finally, in 2017, after 24 long years in prison, Shorn is now a free man. And he's been in there a long time. I mean, he went in at 20, and he's now 43 years old. Wow.
That's his whole life, bro. It took his whole life. Crazy what? If he committed this crime, of course, 100%, please charge me with the crime. If he didn't, man, come on, what are we doing over here, man? This is very diabolical.
But regardless, he's now happier than he's ever been in his life.
So tell me how you feel.
Overwhelmed. Words can't explain.
24 years behind bars, you're now a free man. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Me and Jim going to go eat some seafood together and talk about stuff.
Oh, but it gets even better for Shorn. Because now that he's out, boom, he's able to file a lawsuit against the city of Philadelphia for a wrongful conviction. And in 2020, the city settles with him out of court and they pay him $4.1 million. Damn. So now his whole life changed again because he's officially a multi-millionaire. He even got himself like a little girlfriend now. This woman, Ketra. And so Ketra and Shorn are happy together. And it seems like he'll never have any problems ever again. Until. So at this point, he's been out for a while now, and he's still living in Philadelphia, living his normal life with Ketra and all his new money. But for some reasons that no one will ever understand, he decides that $4.1 million, it's just not enough. He wants more. And he wants this so bad that I guess he's willing to risk it all. And so instead of getting a job, he decides that he wants to get into the drug dealing business, specifically dealing Coca-Cola. It seems like he wants...
What? Huh? What? Huh? I don't know what to say. What's like, wait, you came out to commit more crime? To commit crime? So wait, did you do it? Oh my God. Bro, save my money. Oh my God.
He wants to be some kind of drug pen. Like he wants other drug dealers working underneath him. And so one day, around 2022, he goes to his girlfriend, Ketra, and he's like, hey, can you find somebody to work for me and sell drugs? And I guess Ketra's like, all right. And so Ketra introduces Shorn to a childhood friend of hers, this guy, Akeem. And so Shorn and Akeem, they make a deal. I guess Akeem is going to sell drugs for him. And Shorn hands him a sandwich bag of Coca-Cola, and he's like, sell this for $1,200 and bring me my cut. Here's the thing, though. Akeem, he takes the drugs, but he either doesn't sell them or he sells them and keeps the money. Either way, he doesn't give Shorn his $1,200 cut. And so when Akeem doesn't deliver, Shorn is pissed. And a few days later, he's driving around the neighborhood with Ketra, and he casually says, hey, let's drive by Akeem's hood and see if he's around. And Ketra says, sure. And she has no idea.
Wait, this took a dark turn. It was going positive. It went up. He got free finally after 24 years of, it was very sad. Came out of jail and decided to become a drug kingpin. So did he ever get the money? Because you did mention that he wanted to fight for more. Or he got the money, then turned into a drug dealer. Hey, you know what I mean?
Idea they're beefing. And she also has no idea that Shorn has a pew-pew inside his hoodie. And so they drive around Akeem's spot. And sure enough, out the window, they see him. And then he tells Ketra to pull over, and she does. And Shorn jumps out of the car, and he runs up on Akeem, and he pulls out that pew-pew, and blam, blam, blam. He unalives Akeem right there. Then he runs back, and he jumps in the car, and he yells at her to drive, and she speeds away. And so now they're driving back home. And Ketra, she didn't actually see the shooting, but she heard the shots. And so she's driving thinking, did my boyfriend just murder my friend Akeem? And Shorn, he must know that she's suspicious because he starts threatening her, saying, I can't go back to jail. I know where your family lives, so you better keep your mouth shut. Then, to make it worse, he tells her that Akeem is not the first person he's murdered. He's actually the third person he's murdered, suggesting that maybe he was the one who murdered that businessman outside the bank all those years ago. Maybe those timestamps on the forms were wrong. Maybe his mother and sister who vouched for him were actually lying. Regardless, Ketra is scared. And I guess Shorn is dead serious about not going back to prison because then he apparently tries to put a hit out on Ketra. Like bro goes and tries to hire a hitman to take out his own girlfriend so that she won't rat him out to the police. Well, unfortunately for him, by this time, it's already too late because Shorn had already talked openly about unaliving Akeem with some people he knew, and one of those people tips off police. And so, bam, they arrest Shorn. And Shorn ends up pleading guilty, and after spending 24 years in prison, he's sentenced to another 33 to 66 years. That is wild.
What did I just listen to? What? I haven't even finished the food. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed because what the entire crap that I was watching? What did I just watch? What? Like we gotta roll back. So this gentleman goes into jail. Or gets arrested for shooting somebody else. That was the accusation. He said they cut the wrong person and they should do the investigation again. Eventually, it took 24 years for them to actually get stuff going. And he got vindicated. When he got out, he ends up suing the court for what happened, and he won. He got the $4 million, got the money. But I guess he used the money to start the drug business because he wasn't going to get a job. Of course, typical, right? He wasn't going to get a job. So he uses the money to start a drug business. Then I guess asked his girlfriend for help to help him get an employee. The employee said, fuck him. And then he killed him. Jesus Christ. This got dark real quick. It turned upside down real quick. Honestly, I don't even know what to say and how to think. But, hey, that was a good story, though. You know, it got me thinking, that, some people never learn that lesson. Some people never learn, you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how long, they take. Years, months, centuries, decades, it doesn't matter. They will still do the same thing they would do anyway. That's why, I guess it's necessary for people to just stay locked up or just kill them. At this point, they just should give him a life, you know what I mean? Now he has 6 years after he's 40-something. Yeah, he'll die in prison, man. He'll die in prison, bro. But it's just... What a story. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm still trying to finish up this food. I think I'm going to kill it right now. And I guess I'll see you guys next week on the next episode. And all the Ajax, I will see you later.